Students, and welcome back to your online English classes. If you remember, in the last video we have started a new chapter from your book Vistas, chapter 5, Should His Wizard Hit Mommy? Now this Should Wizard Hit Mommy is been written by John Updike and it consists of a very beautiful message. One is parents are everything. They are the best thing ever happened in your life. They are generally the one who always think good about you. They are the well wishers of yours. My dear students, maybe the world will ditch you, maybe the people around will ditch you, but they are the only one who will always stay by you. They will stand by you. They will always be there beside you in your thick and thin. The second message which was given by this book, this particular chapter, which I introduced to you yesterday in the previous video, was the fact that one must not lose one's identity because it is your individuality. Just to please others, one must not lose that identity or individuality of oneself. Now, what the story is about? This story is about a story within the story. In this, there is a father named Jack who always narrates story to his daughter Jo during the evening time and on Saturday naps. And these all stories generally he used to create on his own with a basic plot line. In this basic plot line means maybe the situation will vary from story to story, but the characters will be the same. Like always, a character named Roger will be in trouble, will go to the wise old owl, and then he will be directed to go to the wizard who with his magic will solve the problem, will ask money which is always less, and then the wizard himself will take out a solution, and then happy Roger will go to the other creatures, play with them, then go back home in the evening to his mother, will wait for his father to come from Boston, and will have supper, and then the story gets over. Always the story will have this plot line, but problems will be different, solutions will be different. So from the time he started this narration of stories, in the beginning it was okay, but he says that as the time has passed and Jo has turned big, this seems to be very useless because very rarely she used to go to sleep after narrating the entire story also. And this girl, now she is all set to listen to the story, and she was lying on the bed of her father, which she used to get chance only during the Saturday naps and if ever she falls sick. And she had covered herself with a bedsheet, and her excitement could be seen under the bedsheet with her bumped feet and all. And then while she was lying down, an idea or a line of thought crossed her father's mind that maybe there could be some kind of a magic which would make her sleep just like her infant brother who was sleeping beside her. And then Jack asked her whose story she would like to listen. To that, she said, obviously. Who? Yes, Roger. But surname has to change. So this time, like as if though pretending, like thinking, she said, it may be the story of Roger's Khan. And then Jack also got excited that he got a new name, so his creative enthusiasm got a boost, and he started the story with, as the stories are generally said, once upon a time in the dark deep wood there was a creature named Roger who used to smell very bad. Okay, this is the twist in the story. So this time, hopefully the situation is bad smell. And then Jo, she said, oh really? And then he continued his story, taking some hints from his childhood humiliations. He said that whenever this Rogers used to come to the wood to play with the other woodland creatures, they used to run away calling him Stinky Skun, and Roger was left all alone with tears rolling down from the eyes. And as I told you in the last video, Joe was really living the story, and the corner of Joe's eyes were filled with tears, which Jack felt with his forefinger. Continuing the story, "Won't he see the owl?" she asked in a high and faintly roughened voice. Sitting on the bed beside her, Jack felt the covers tug as her legs twitched tensely. He was pleased with this moment. He was telling her something true, something she must know, and had no wish to hurry on. But downstairs, a chair scraped, and he realized he must get down to help Claire paint the living room woodwork. Okay, while she was listening to the story, as you know that the story plotline used to be same, so which means that Joe was already knowing what would be the next step in the story. It will be the creature, his problem, then going to the owl. So immediately she asked in a very high and a faintly roughened voice, means she was eager to know what will be the next step. She asked whether he will not be going to see the owl. While she was doing this, her legs were tensed under the bedsheet, and Jack at that particular moment felt very happy, thinking that he was telling his daughter something very true, something that a child must know, and he never had a wish to hurry up. But at that moment, downstairs in the house, a chair scraped. Scrape means the chair was pulled against a rough surface, and noise arose because of it, and that is what is scraping noise. And then he suddenly realized, he felt that he has to go down soon, because his wife Claire, she was down painting the woodwork, means the items, objects made of wood which were there in the living room or the hall. Then he continued the story. Well, he walked along very sadly and came to a very big tree, and in the tip top of the tree was an enormous wise old owl. "Good, Mr. Owl," Roger Skunk said. "All the other little animals ran away from me because I smell so bad." "So you do," the owl said. "Very, very bad." "What can I do?" Roger Skunk said, and he cried very hard. Now, Jack continued the story, and he said that our sad little Roger Skunk, he, thinking about his problem, he walked and came across a big tree. And at the top, tip top of the tree, there was an enormous wise old owl. Hearing this, Jack was very happy. Joe was very happy. Not Jack, Joe. Joe was very happy. Why? Because Roger was coming across a solution. And then Roger Skunk stood over there and spoke to the owl, and he said, "Mr. Owl, I am in deep trouble. The little animals of the woodland, they are not willing to play with me. They run away the moment they see me because I smell so bad." Then the owl from there, he said, "So do you. You smell so bad." Then Roger, he started crying loud, very hard, means loud, and he asked, "What can I do?" Our little Joe, she is very excited. So she said, "The wizard, the wizard." Joe shouted and sat right up, and a little golden book spilled from the bed. She was very excited because she knew what would be the next step. So she said, the wizard, the magician." And saying this, she sat right up on the bed. And while she did this, the book which was lying on her lap, little golden book, it spilled from the bed, means it fell off from the bed to the floor. Now Joe, Daddy telling the story. "Do you want to tell Daddy the story?" "No, you, me." "Then lie down and be sleepy." So when she did so, Jack, he said to her, like how no lovingly we threaten the child, "नहीं करोगे ऐसा तो मम्मी भी ऐसा नहीं करेगी, पापा भी ऐसा नहीं करेंगे." So here also same thing. He said to Joe, "Daddy is telling you the story now, or do you want to tell Daddy's story?" Then she said, you see the English, huh? Very brilliant one. Small child, na? "No, you, me." She mean to say that, "No, I don't want to tell the story. You have to tell story to me." Then he said to her, "Then do one thing, lie down and be sleepy." tried to sleep. Her head relapsed onto the pillow and she said, "Out of your head." Well, the owl thought and thought. At last he said, "Why don't you go see the wizard?" "Daddy?" "What?" Okay, her head relapsed onto the pillow. Means she put her head back on the pillow and she said, "Out of your head." Chalo, aage ki kahani batao. That's what she meant to say, out of your head. Means let the story come out of your head. Then Jack continued the story and he said, the owl, he thought and thought and thought, and then he got the solution. He said to Roger, "Why don't you go to see the wizard?" When he said this, our little Joe, she said, "Daddy." And then Jack said, "What?" To that, see Joe's question. Are magic spells real? This was a new face. Just this last month, a reality face. When he told her spiders eat bugs, she turned to her mother and asked, "Do they? Really?" And when Claire told her God was in the sky and all around them, she turned to her father and insisted with a sly yet eager smile, "Is he really?" Now the thing is that when he said that owl gave a suggestion to Roger to go to the wizard, she came up with a question. And you know what question? This is the problem in narrating story to small children, They ask hundreds of questions. Sometimes silly, sometimes illogical, sometimes irritating the narrator. And here he said that she asked the question. The question asked by him, are magic spells real? वाकई में जादू होता है? According to Jack, this is a new condition now arose. Kind of a reality phase, means the child is eager to know whatever is being told to her through the story, do they really exist or not? He gave an example. Once he told her that there are spiders who eat bugs, bugs, insects. This girl, she didn't believe her father. What she did, she went to her mother, Claire, and she asked her mother, "Mama, really? There are spiders who eat bugs?" Means when her father said, she went to her mother for a clarification and for the authenticity of the answer. And then when her mother said that there is God up in the sky and everywhere around us who is seeing you, she went to her father and asked him cunningly, means that naughtiness, no? And but still with an eager smile, "Is he really? Is there God really in the sky and looking at us?" So this was the new thing that was going around. Too much inquisitive and asking too many questions. "They are real in stories," Jack answered curtly. She had made him miss a beat in the narrating. The owl said, "Go through the dark woods, under the apple trees, into the swamp, and over the creek." Now here, when he said this, when she asked him a question that are magic spells real, he said that they are real in stories. And he said this little curtly. Curtly means like in short, he said, not giving a vivid description of it, because when she had asked this question, he was in a flow of narrating the story and she had stopped him in between, and it happens now that you don't get the flow of it, so he was like angry sort. And then he continued the story and he said that the owl said to Roger that you do one thing, you walk through the dark woods, dark jungle, under the apple trees you have to walk through, then into the swamp here means slushy, muddy place. In Hindi you call na daldal, or a place where too less water and more of mud is there. Over the creek. Again, she came up with a question. What's a creek? It's not Joe's mistake. When Jack will use such kind of words, definitely the child wants to know what it is all about. Then, a little river over the creek and there will be the wizard's house. And that's the way Roger's gun went, and pretty soon he came to a little white house. and he rapped on the door. Jack rapped on the windowsill and under the covers. Joe's tall figure clenched in an infantile thrill. And then a tiny little old man came out with a long white beard and a pointed blue hat and said, "Yeah, what's this? What you want? You smell awful." The wizard's voice was one of Jack's own favorite effects. He did it by scrunching up his face and somehow winning through his eyes, which felt for the interval rheumy. He felt being an old man suited him. Okay. While he was narrating the story, she again asked a question, "What's a creek?" To that he gave an answer that creek means a little river, and over the creek means that slushy place, water is less and more mud. Over that a bridge is there, and over the creek he means to say that he has to cross over the creek, and there the wizard's house is there. So Roger followed Owl's instructions, and he walked and walked through the wood under the apple, and then he crossed over the creek, and he reached near a little white house, and he rapped on the door. Rapped means knocking. And Jack rapped on the windowsill. Means Jack not only narrates the story, but he tries to bring liveliness in the story. So he used to rap. He used to knock on the window pane so that she could feel that rapping, that noise. And the effect of that was Jaw's tall figure, which was lying under the shade, used to get clenched. Clenched here means she used to feel the tension of the body. I cannot say tension, but the excitement of a child, infantile thrill, means a child's thrill, excitement of what is next, what he's going to say next, or what is going to happen next. That. And then the door was opened by a tiny little old man. I told you in the beginning, in the last video, that wizard can be a small dwarf man. And here also he is a dwarf man. As you can see this picture very clearly, an old man with long white beard and a cap on the head, which is having a point on the tip, and a pointed tip is there. And he came out and he asked, "What's this? What you want? You smell awful." Now we can feel that voice that I gave. Yes, this was Wizard's voice, which was one of the basic favorite effect Jack used to give to the story by scrunching up his face. Scrunching up his face means making varied type of expressions of an old man, and then somehow by minching his eyes and trying to give a kind of an effect to the story, which used to feel very, you can say that very good at that particular moment in the story. And he says that he used to feel that acting as an old man used to suit him. So for today's video, I would like to bring it to an end, and let's continue with the rest of the story in the next video. Till then, goodbye and stay still.